Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. I'm Dharma Helper, and this is DH Reviews. This is my Season 1, Episode 12 review of Constantine. If you missed any of my previous Constantine reviews, there will be a link in the description of this video, as well as an annotation behind me on the screen. You can check either of those out, and they will take you right to the Constantine playlist that has all of my videos in it. I'll also go ahead and link in the description of this video every other review that I've been doing so far, and if you're interested in my thoughts on any of those series, you can check the links out in the description of this video, and that'll take you to my playlist for the various reviews that I've been doing so far. With all that being said, Season 1, Episode 12 of Constantine was called Angels and Ministers of Grace, and in this episode, Constantine teams up with Manny to track down a killer who is using a black diamond or was it a black diamond or something with magical powers in order to kill people and go on a rampage. And some very important things happen in this episode in regards to Zed, and in regards to Manny, and in regards to Constantine. So let's talk about that. That's kind of the story of the episode. Let's begin now with the characters, and let's talk about Constantine. Constantine's episode in this episode was a little bit of an emotional one. We got to see a different side of Constantine in terms of what we normally get was the emotional sort of shield he puts up, and the sort of cavalier attitude that he has, and the sort of swagger that he goes about dealing with these problems. And in this episode, we got to see a very agitated and a very angry Constantine. And it's very clear that he's got, all this different weight on his shoulders in regards to what happened in Newcastle, the rising darkness, all his friends and everything like that. He had that scene where he said that, every time he wakes up, he kind of just pretends that everyone he cares about is dead. And that kind of gets him ready to do what he needs to do. And I thought that was an interesting sort of way to take Constantine leading into the finale, now that we know that he's got as much at stake as anybody else. And again, a more emotional episode, so it's kind of humanizing him here before the finale, and in particular his relationship with Zed and his investment in Zed, dealing with the news that obviously she's got this tumor, and doing his best to try and cope with that, and cope with talking to her, and then trying to figure out a way to help her and save her. And again, it's just a really interesting, humanizing episode for Constantine. So with that being said, let's talk now about Manny. And Manny in this episode, the gravity of the situation really hits home for Manny as well, I think. He gets trapped in that human body by Constantine after he refuses, or is not technically allowed to, help with the tumor. And so being in a human body, being exposed to those emotions, and I think that gave Manny a picture of what's actually at stake here against the rising darkness. And I think now, moving into the finale, he's going to have a vested interest in helping Constantine, and a more clear picture of where Constantine is coming from, and a better idea of the stakes going against the Brujeria and the rising darkness. And what I think was interesting about Manny in this episode was his relationship now with Zed. And Zed has a conversation with him about where her powers come from, and all this stuff, and is the tumor a punishment, or whatever the case may be. And Manny, in his own way, is there for Zed in her time of questioning and her time of need. And I thought that was interesting. And I've been talking about in my reviews what it would be like for Zed, who has had this spiritual view of things and this question of heaven and gifts and all this stuff, to meet Manny and to have a conversation with an actual angel. And I thought that was a rewarding thing to have here leading into the finale. And it puts a lot of things in perspective, again, for Manny and for us, having that conversation between the two of them, and having that sort of be right into the finale. up until this point, obviously, Manny has only talked to Constantine, and so I'm curious as to the criteria of who can he speak to, or who does he speak to, who does he appear to, and what changed between this episode and previous episodes in terms of talking to Zed. But that's kind of Manny for the episode. So let's wrap up my characters review on Zed. And she has a very interesting episode as well. We find out in this episode that she's got a tumor, and that the tumor is potentially the source of her visions and her hallucinations and all this sort of stuff. And Constantine has this conversation where he says, humans and people tend to try to want to explain magic or things that they can't explain, things they don't understand, with science. And so it's a question of, is this tumor a gift, or is it a curse, or is it anything to do with her powers, and where do her powers come from? And I think my thoughts coming out of the episode are that she was shown Constantine to give her the opportunity to meet Manny and to get that answer. And so it is this question of fate, and where does fate play into it, and where does destiny play into it? I think my personal theory is that she was given these visions of Constantine so that she would meet Constantine, so that she could use her powers for good and understand that her powers are a good thing, and then ultimately meet Manny and get the answers that she wanted. She didn't necessarily get the answers that she wanted so much as she got the answers that she needed, and the answers that brought some level of peace and, again, perspective to her. And I think that leading into the finale, it's going to be an important question for her to understand now that her gift is a gift and it's used for good, and it shouldn't be something to be afraid of or ashamed of like she would be if, as it relates to the Crusaders and her father and all this stuff. I think that is her question in the series, is that her gift can be corrupted and abused by her father, and so is her gift necessarily a good thing? And I think, now she understands that it's up to her how to use her gift, and her gift is ultimately a good thing, and it's ultimately going to be helpful in the long run in the fight against the Brujeria. And so that's really all in terms of characters for this episode. So my final thoughts on the episode. On the one hand, I can see where it would be a dissatisfying episode only because it's the episode right before the finale. It's kind of a low-key episode and sort of a standard fare episode in terms of the Constantine that we've gotten used to. But as I think about it and I rationalize it, again, that theme of putting things into perspective for the main players here, for Constantine, for Zed, for Manny, putting things into perspective for these guys and understanding that they have a lot at stake, it kind of makes sense as an episode leading up to this finale. And another thing is that they only have 13 episodes. So as a result of that, things are going to be truncated. Things are going to be different than if they had been given a full season order, or maybe 16, 18 episodes. So as a whole, it was a solid episode, and I can excuse the idea of it not necessarily being material or quality in terms of the episode right before the finale by all this sort of things that I just mentioned. It being only 13 episodes, and again, the idea of this theme of the episode that I took away from it, of perspective and making sure that the stakes are very clear. And I enjoyed the episode as a whole, and the idea of Manny, being trapped in a human body and all that stuff, and the sort of side humor of him being exposed to the carnal pleasures of humanity and all that stuff. That was kind of an interesting tidbit. I did not expect that surgeon guy to actually be the killer. I thought the killer might be revealed as somebody else, but I did think that he might be a crusader. So that twist was something, again, that I think that they handled pretty well. Overall, solid episode. Very well done. So with that being said, I think I'll take this opportunity to talk about the series, the season as a whole, and my thoughts moving into the finale, which is tonight. By the time I put this video out, the finale will be tonight. And unfortunately, I won't be able to do a live stream on Saturday because I have plans for Saturday. So my thoughts going into the finale are that I really enjoyed this first season, and I'm hopeful that we're going to get to see a action-packed finale, no holds barred, something to show NBC and to show anybody, the fans and everything like that, that Constantine deserves to be on the air, and that it's a very quality television show. In terms of the story, I'm interested to see if we'll see any more of Jim Corrigan. I'm interested to see if we'll see any more of the Crusaders. I'm interested to see if we'll see a reunion of the Newcastle group and this mysterious Jody. I believe Jody is the last Newcastle member that we haven't really seen. A lot of things like that, like the Crusaders, the Newcastle group, that are left open so far. I think they're going to try their best to tie up here in the finale. Obviously, they didn't have the room that they would have liked in terms of a full season order to tie these things up. But nonetheless, there are obviously things that need to be addressed. And one thing I don't want to see in this finale is what they've been doing kind of in the rest of the season is Zed is on vacation, Chaz is on vacation, Manny is off on a Angel press conference. You know, everybody, all hands on deck for this finale. And really showcase what made Constantine a great show for this first season, first of what I hope to be many seasons. And really, I'd like to see who it actually is behind this rising darkness. Put a face to the Brujeria and to this whole Astrid thing and Nostromo. Is it Nostromo? Is Nostromo the demon that took Astrid? Put a face to that and give us something to look forward to for next season. So with all that being said, if you like the episode, leave a like down below. If you like the review, leave a like down below. And comment anything I might have said or might have missed you have an opinion on. I'm always interested to talk with you guys, so comment down below with that. Or hit me up on Twitter at the DH Reviews. If you want to see more reviews like this, subscribe to the channel and share these videos. And that covers everything I wanted to talk about. So until next time, stay tuned.